Pastor Mary was a devoted woman of God who served her congregation with unwavering faith. But as the years passed, the weight of her struggles began to crush her spirit. Desperate and broken, she found herself alone by the riverside one fateful evening, crying out to anyone who would listen. What she encountered that night would change everything. A mysterious river goddess who offered her everything she'd ever dreamed of, but at a price that would eventually demand the unthinkable. This is a story of temptation, consequence, and the ultimate test of a mother's love. But before we dive into this chilling tale, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our spine-tingling stories. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready for a journey into the depths of human desperation and divine consequence. Now, let's begin. The evening air hung thick with humidity as Pastor Mary walked the familiar path toward Willow Creek. Her footsteps echoed hollowly against the damp earth, each step heavier than the last. The weight of 7 years of ministry pressed down on her shoulders like stones. 7 long years of preaching to empty pews, of watching her congregation dwindle from dozens to mere handfuls. Her weathered hands clutched a worn Bible, its pages soft from countless readings, countless prayers that seemed to vanish into silence. The mist rolled off the water like ghostly fingers, reaching toward her as she approached the riverbank. Crickets sang their evening chorus, but tonight their melody felt mournful, almost prophetic. Mary's eyes, once bright with hope and purpose, now carried the hollow look of someone who had given everything and received nothing in return. She stopped at the water's edge and fell to her knees, the damp soil seeping through her dress. Her voice cracked as she spoke into the gathering darkness. 7 years, Lord. 7 years I've served you faithfully, and what do I have to show for it? Her words trembled with exhaustion and barely contained rage. My church is dying. My daughter Sarah needs medicine I can't afford. My husband works 3 jobs just to keep food on our table. The water lapped gently at the shore, indifferent to her pain. Mary scooped up a handful of the cool liquid and watched it slip through her fingers like the hope she once carried. I've tithed when we had nothing. I've fasted when we were already hungry. I've prayed until my knees bled and my voice gave out. Her breath caught in her throat. Where are you? Where are the blessings you promised? She threw a stone into the creek, watching the ripples spread and disappear. They mock me now, you know. The other pastors, the community leaders. They say I'm a failure, that God has abandoned me. Tears mixed with the mist on her face. Maybe they're right. Maybe you're not listening. Maybe you were never there at all. The wind shifted suddenly, carrying with it an unnatural stillness. The crickets fell silent. Even the water seemed to pause in its eternal flow. Mary looked up, sensing something she couldn't name, a presence both ancient and watchful. If anyone is out there, she whispered, her voice barely audible above the sudden quiet. Angel, demon, spirit, I don't care anymore. Help me. Show me a way out of this darkness. The silence stretched on, thick and expectant. Then, like a whisper made of water and moonlight, she heard it, a voice melodious and hypnotic, rising from the depths of Willow Creek. The surface began to shimmer, not with reflected starlight, but with an inner glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. Slowly, gracefully, she emerged from the water. Her name was Aquara. She rose like a dream made flesh, her skin gleaming with an otherworldly luminescence. Her hair flowed around her like liquid silver, and her eyes held the depth of oceans. From the waist down, her body transformed into a tail of scales that caught and reflected light in impossible ways. Mary stumbled backward, her heart pounding. Sweet Jesus, protect me, she gasped. Aquara smiled, an expression both beautiful and unsettling. There is no need for fear, Mary, she said, her voice carrying the sound of distant waves. I heard your call, felt your pain echoing through the waters. How? How do you know my name? Mary's voice shook. I know all who call out in true desperation, Aquara replied, gliding across the water's surface as if it was solid ground. I am Aquara, guardian of these waters, keeper of ancient bargains. And tonight, your heart's cry has reached me. Mary's rational mind told her to run, to flee this impossible encounter. But desperation had made her brave, or perhaps foolish. "What are you?" she whispered. "I am older than your scriptures, deeper than your prayers," Aquara said, circling Mary like a predator studying prey. "I am what remains when faith fails, when hope dies, when good people are pushed beyond their limits." "I'm a pastor," Mary said weakly. "I serve God." Aquara's laugh was like silver bells mixed with thunder. "And yet here you are, begging for help from any power that will listen. Tell me, Mary, what has your God given you lately besides silence?" The words cut deep because they held truth. Mary looked down at her calloused hands, at the worn patches on her dress, at the weight of failure that clung to her like a shroud. "I can change everything," Aquara continued, her voice now gentle, persuasive. "I can fill your church until people stand in the aisles. I can give you the power to heal the sick, to work miracles that will make your name known across the land. Your family will want for nothing. You will be respected, revered, powerful." Mary's breath caught. Everything she had ever wanted, ever prayed for, was being offered to her by this impossible being. "What would you want in return?" Aquara's smile widened, revealing teeth like pearls. "A small price, really. Once each year, when the moon is dark, you will bring me a gift. A young woman, pure and untouched, between the ages of 18 and 25. She will serve me in the depths, and in return, your power will be renewed." The words hit Mary like physical blows. That's murder. That's evil." "Is it?" Aquara tilted her head. "Or is it simply the way power has always worked? The strong take from the weak. The successful climb on the backs of the forgotten. I'm simply being honest about the transaction. I could never what?" Aquara's voice turned sharp. "Could never sacrifice one life to save hundreds? Your congregation is dying, Mary. Not just spiritually, but literally. Mrs. Henderson's cancer, young Timothy's diabetes, the Kowalski baby's heart defect. You could heal them all. You could save them all. What is one life compared to that?" Mary felt the weight of every parishioner she had failed to help, every prayer that had gone unanswered, every funeral she had conducted while feeling helpless and inadequate. "And if I refuse?" she asked quietly. Aquara shrugged with elegant indifference. "Then you return to your empty church, your sick congregation, your failing family. Your daughter's condition will worsen. Your husband will work himself to death. Your church will close within the year, and you will die forgotten, clutching a book of promises that were never kept." The river goddess began to sink back into the water. "I offer you 7 days to consider. 7 days to watch your world crumble, to count the cost of your righteousness. When the week is done, return here at midnight. Give me your answer then." "Wait," Mary called out, but Aquara had already vanished beneath the dark surface, leaving only ripples and the echo of her voice. The next 7 days passed like a nightmare. Mary tried to pray, but the words felt hollow. She opened her Bible, but the pages seemed to mock her with their promises of provision and blessing. Her daughter Sarah's cough worsened, and the medical bills piled higher. 2 more families left the church, taking their tithes with them. On the 7th night, Mary found herself back at the riverbank, her decision made by desperation and the weight of watching everyone she loved suffer. "I'll do it," she whispered to the dark water. Aquara rose again, her smile triumphant. "I knew you would see reason. The pact is sealed." That Sunday changed everything. The church filled beyond capacity. Mary's words carried new power, new authority. When she laid hands on the sick, they were healed instantly. The lame walked, the blind saw, the deaf heard. Money poured in from all directions. Television crews arrived. Publishers offered book deals. Pastor Mary became a household name. For 11 months, life was perfect. Then June arrived, and with it, the first payment. Mary chose carefully, a troubled young woman from the city, someone who wouldn't be missed immediately. She told herself it was necessary, that the greater good required this sacrifice. She brought the girl to the river and watched as Aquara claimed her prize. The guilt nearly destroyed her, but the continued miracles, the healing, the prosperity, they helped her bury the darkness deep inside. Year after year, the pattern continued. Mary would select another young woman, always someone isolated, always someone the world seemed to have forgotten. She developed elaborate justifications, complex theological reasonings for why this was acceptable, even righteous. But power corrupted, as it always does. The miracles began to feel routine. The adoration became expected. The wealth and fame became drugs that she needed in ever-increasing doses. By the 7th year, Mary had become someone she no longer recognized. The humble pastor was gone, replaced by a celebrity evangelist who commanded stadiums and lived in a mansion. Her husband had left, disgusted by what she had become. Sarah, now 17, barely spoke to her. On the night of the 7th payment, Mary arrived at the river with her chosen sacrifice, a quiet girl named Emma from a local foster home. But as they approached the water, Aquara emerged with a different expression, one that chilled Mary's blood. Not her, the river goddess said, her eyes fixed on something behind Mary. Mary turned to see Sarah standing in the shadows, having followed her mother out of concern. "Bring me the girl," Aquara commanded, pointing at Sarah. "No," Mary breathed. "She's my daughter. She's only 17. She turned 18 last month," Aquara replied with cold precision. "And the price has escalated, as I always warned it would. You have grown fat on power, Mary. The balance demands a more precious offering. I won't do it. Take someone else. Take me." Aquara's laugh was like breaking glass. "You are no longer pure, Mary Morrison. You are corrupted beyond redemption. Your soul is worthless to me now. But the girl, she still carries innocence. Please," Mary fell to her knees. "I'll give you anything else. Money, property, my own life. The bargain is set. Bring me the girl, or lose everything you have gained. Your power will fade, your miracles will cease, and everyone will learn the truth about how you built your empire." Mary looked at her daughter, then at the river goddess. For the first time in 7 years, she made the right choice. "No," she said firmly. "I won't give you my daughter." Aquara's beautiful face twisted with rage. "Then you will watch everything burn." The next morning, Mary's powers were gone. The healing stopped working. Investigations began into her finances. Former associates came forward with damaging testimony. Within weeks, her empire crumbled. The media that had once praised her now destroyed her with equal fervor. But losing everything wasn't the worst part. Sarah began to change. She would disappear for hours, returning wet despite there being no rain. She spoke in her sleep, words that sounded like rushing water. Her eyes developed an unsettling glow in certain light. Mary realized with growing horror that Aquara wasn't done with her family. The river goddess was claiming Sarah slowly, piece by piece, torturing Mary with the gradual loss of her daughter. One night, Mary awoke to find Sarah gone. She ran to the river and found her daughter standing waist-deep in the dark water, speaking to shapes that moved beneath the surface. "Sarah!" Mary screamed, plunging into the creek. Aquara rose from the depths, no longer beautiful but terrible, her face a mask of rage and ancient hunger. "She belongs to me now," the river goddess hissed. "The debt must be paid." "Take me instead," Mary pleaded. "Your soul is worthless," Aquara snarled. "But watch as I claim what you refuse to give." But Sarah turned to face them both, and Mary gasped. Her daughter's eyes blazed with an inner light that was not Aquara's, not the river goddess's power, but something deeper, older, more primal. "You cannot take what was never yours to claim," Sarah said, her voice echoing with authority that made the water itself tremble. Aquara recoiled. "You are bound to me by blood and bargain." "I am bound to nothing," Sarah replied. You mocked me with your touch. Yes, but something else came first. Something that chose me before you even knew I existed. The river began to churn violently. From its depths came a sound like distant thunder, like the voice of the earth itself awakening. The water parted, revealing not another creature, but a presence so vast and ancient that even Aquara cowered before it. You have broken the ancient laws. The presence spoke without words, communicating directly to their minds. A willing vessel you demanded, not a child stolen by grief and manipulation. The compact is void. Aquara screamed as the river itself turned against her, the very waters she had commanded now becoming her prison. She was pulled down into the depths, her cries echoing until they faded to nothing. The presence turned its attention to Sarah. You have been touched by both darkness and light, child. The choice is yours: return to your mortal life, or accept the responsibility that comes with power. Sarah looked at her mother, tears streaming down both their faces. I choose balance, she said simply. The river calmed. The presence withdrew. Sarah remained changed, no longer fully human, but not lost to the darkness either. She became a guardian of sorts, protecting others from the kind of bargains that had nearly destroyed her family. Mary never preached again. She spent her remaining years working quietly at a homeless shelter, trying to undo some of the damage her years of selfishness had caused. She wrote letters to the families of the young women she had sacrificed, confessing her crimes and begging forgiveness she knew she didn't deserve. Sarah visited her regularly, still Mary's daughter, but also something more, a bridge between worlds, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, redemption remains possible if we choose it. The river still flows past the old church, now abandoned and overgrown. Local children dare each other to approach it after dark, claiming they can sometimes see a figure in white standing in the shallows, not threatening, but watchful, ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Some say that on quiet nights, you can hear Sarah's voice carried on the wind, warning those who might be tempted by easy power and quick solutions. The river remembers everything. Choose your bargains carefully, for the price is always higher than you think. And sometimes, when desperate souls find themselves at the water's edge, crying out for help, they hear a different voice, not offering easy answers or miraculous shortcuts, but reminding them that true strength comes not from power over others, but from the courage to face our challenges with integrity intact. The story of Pastor Mary serves as a reminder that in our darkest hours, when faith feels hollow and hope seems lost, the choices we make define not just our destiny, but the legacy we leave behind. The river may offer quick solutions, but lasting peace can only be found by walking the harder path, the path of truth, sacrifice, and genuine love. What did you think of this haunting tale of temptation and consequence? Have you ever faced a moment where desperation made a terrible bargain seem appealing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from our community about how these stories resonate with your own experiences. If this story gave you chills and made you think, smash that like button and share it with friends who appreciate powerful storytelling with deeper meaning. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest tales of mystery, morality, and the supernatural. Until next time, remember, the easiest path is rarely the right one, and true strength often comes from the choices we make when no one is watching. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.